Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. I'm your host, Azzy. With me as always is my friend Roy. And today we are doing a review for Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. Oh, like you can't hear it, but in my head there's angels singing because I've been waiting for this game for so
I,
long.
showing off your pops. I mean, I show off my pops on it, but we're not here to talk about
Hey,
pops.
hey, no, we're not. No, we're not. I'm just like I wanted a prop, and I really wish I had my shelves up so I could just have this shit up here back. But sadly, I am lazy. I've been playing this franchise since the beginning, and I gotta tell you, like, I was so worried that this franchise was going to die after the entry in PlayStation 4. Not that the game was bad, but because, like with Square Enix and Final Fantasy Spirits Within, they decided to roll the dice and come out with a movie. One of the most common and most probably memed impressions about the Ratchet and Clank franchise is that it looks like a Pixar movie. It's like, don't the visuals look so great? It reminds me so much of a Pixar movie. Everyone says that ad nauseum to the point that it's become a running gag when it comes to anyone who reviews these games. Uh, so Insomniac had the bright idea. Is like, you know what? Everyone's calling it a Pixar movie. Why don't we make a movie? So they made the movie, and then they rehashed or redid the first Ratchet and Clank game for the PlayStation 4, and the game did just fine. The sales were about as predictable as you would expect from a Ratchet and Clank game. It's a very popular franchise for the PlayStation and has been since PS2. But the movie did not. It did not make the kind of money that they were expecting or hoping for. And where with the PlayStation 2, we got 5 Ratchet and Clank games. On the PlayStation 3, we got 4 Ratchet and Clank games.
Damn.
On the entirety of the PlayStation 4's lifespan, we only got 1, and that scared me. So for this game to come back and be true to form, everything you would expect from the game, but with a bunch of surprises, it was I felt like I could finally exhale. I'm over dramatizing this, but I don't care.
Well, you shocked me with how many games they came out between PS2 and PS3. I thought it was maybe like six games they had in the whole franchise, not including the
Oh, I actually
Secret
no,
Agent
I'm sorry.
Clank.
Actually, I haven't. I wasn't referring to the handheld games because you had Secret Agent Clank. You also had the other Ratchet and Clank game that was on the PSP and the PSP. Uh, but I'm sorry, it was 4 games for the PS2 and 5 games for the PS3
Jesus.
because they tried to go multiplayer and it didn't go so well. The game didn't. I don't think it was actually developed by Insomniac in house. It was developed by another company, and it shipped buggy and broken, and it just did not sell well. It became a free game that they try to give away. So I love that the game lives on inside Rift Apart. Rift Apart. It's it's an arcade box at Zerky's. You can actually see them playing it.
Hmm.
But I loved this game. Effectively, the premise, like from where the story left off back in the PlayStation 3 era, they fleshed out the lore for the titular character and Ratchet and his race, which are called the Lombaxes. Essentially, uh, the Lombaxes were in a conflict with another race called the Kragmites, and in order to defeat their enemy, they developed a device called the Dimensionator, and banished the evil Kragmites to another dimension. But in the course of it, they also disappeared as well. But sadly, Ratchet was left behind as an infant and grew up not knowing his family. In the course of the 4 PlayStation 3 titles known as the Future Saga, um, the Dimensionator was refound, the last Kragmite was defeated, and the game that left off canonically as like the most recent in the story left with Clank taking ownership of the Dimensionator. So when this game begins, first it starts off with the newest character that has been the biggest buzz, that I think was the thing that got you interested in the first place, Rivet, a female Lombax, which is the first actual Lombax in canon Lombax that we've seen since they did a soft reboot in the second Ratchet and Clank, because there was a female Lombax in that one, but she was gigantic. And they just kind of like, oh no, she just looks like a Lombax. She's not that race. Retcon. Don't pay attention. But after showing us a little bit of Rivet in this this dystopia world that we were going to spend the majority of the game in, we cut back to Clank, and I love the transition of like the lights from these robot enforcers that were coming down on Rivet, and the view from behind her head, and then immediately it switches over to Ratchet, because their home city, or their newly home city, is holding a big parade for like the 7 times that Ratchet saved the galaxy. And we had this really great fourth wall breaking joke with Ratchet, where he's having like a panic attack as to whether or not because they haven't done anything for several years. What if they think we're washed up? What if we are washed up? So going through this parade, ending with Clank gifting Ratchet the Dimensionator for the purpose of finding his family, which is something that was important to Ratchet at one point, till in that particular adventure, Ratchet, like the pursuit of trying to find his family, almost cost him the friends that he's found. So he Ratchet had his own kind of like issues with the concept of being gifted the Dimensionator, but it's not that he had to reconcile that in front of Clank in the crowd, because the ongoing, almost Dr. Robotnik-esque villain in Dr. Nefarious appears at just the right time in order to steal the Dimensionator, because he's tired of losing. So he wants to use it to find a dimension where he always wins. Of course, in the course of it, he doesn't he doesn't know how to use the Dimensionator, and he's messing it up. And in their attempts to get it back, Ratchet shoots the Dimensionator. I imagine to try and knock it from Nefarious's grasp, but instead he breaks it, and it causes effectively the time and space to shatter, and them to get sucked into a wormhole and separated as they land in the very dimension that Nefarious is trying to reach in the first place. What, as the guy who's always been parallel to the series, because I've always played the games, but you were very much not on the bandwagon. As the guy who this is the introductory game of Ratchet and Clank for, what did you think about the game? Because we already know I'm going to love it no matter what. I want to know what you felt.
Yeah, because at this point I was about to say, damn, he's about to take over this whole review. I was like, damn, he's already in the plot and everything. I'm like, good God, man, let me tell me.
I'm trying to set up the premise. I was just trying to set up the premise. I'm sorry, I hijacked the whole thing.
I was like, I didn't want to cut him off. I was like,
you can cut as much as you want.
If you want it, no, I'm keeping it. As far as you didn't go past them going to the past the rifts, I was about to be like, all right, you going too far.
I'm sorry. I wasn't gonna go any far. Before I let you go, just so we're not in any kind of hot water. As always, we are not very controlled when it comes to spoilers. We can't help it. We want to talk about everything we liked about it. So if you haven't played the game, or if you don't want to be spoiled by anything, this is your spoiler warning. Okay. Thank you so much. And by all means, Roy, continue.
So you've been the Ratchet and Clank guy, been the Jack and Daxter guy. Fortunately, not many Jack and Daxter games besides 4. I think it was 4 main story games and a racer. That's it. I mean, the five total.
Oh, you're including the PSP game, which was actually really
was it a PSP game? No, there's 2 PSP games. Then there's I think it's called The Last Frontier and Daxter.
I thought The Last Frontier was Jack 3.
No, it's Jack 1, 2, 3, The Last Frontier or some shit, and Jack Racing. And then if you want to include Daxter,
Jack Racing actually had a plot, if you could believe it.
Yeah, I know. I got it downloaded.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, Ratchet and Clank. Never been a big fan of Ratchet and Clank. Even trying to play the last gen version, I was having trouble trying to get into this game. So I was like, you know what? you got the character Rivet, and you're like, oh shit, Nick's gonna like this. He's gonna play as Rivet the whole game, which I pretty much did for what levels I was able to play her in. There's certain areas you can't go back and play.
Oh, it's like every other world is you're either
Yeah,
playing as Rivet or Ratchet, and I was fine with that. Like, if I honestly had to say the one thing that I was a bit disappointed about was, uh, rather than coming up with unique types of gameplay for each Lombax, they unified between them. So whatever guns you got on Ratchet were the guns you would have on Rivet.
yeah, which
But it's like,
I didn't
yeah,
mind
but
that.
Rivet fights. Well, in previous games, you had like they would add functionality to Ratchet's um, well, wrench, and Rivet fought with a hammer. They changed how the cranks would work. Like she would crank one way, and he had
Yeah.
the bolt things. But otherwise, it's like she has a robotic arm. Like, you could have given her unique functionality with that or something. But like,
But
still,
so yeah,
it's a minor complaint.
yeah. I mean, not a big deal to me, because like this, for everybody to know, this is like my first full start to finish Ratchet and Clank game. So yeah, love Rivet, voiced by Commander Shepard herself, Jennifer Hale, which I caught.
Commander Fem Shepard.
Yeah, so nah, it's Commander Shepard. That's canon. It's canon now. Shepard was a female, but this game, I really enjoyed it. Story wise, didn't care for it, because here's the one gripes I was having with, like, when they were introducing certain characters from the alternate dimension, like hold on, I had it pulled up here.
Captain Quantum,
Pierre.
Pierre.
I knew, Quantum was Captain Quark and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I was like, okay, that's him. But I, like, other than that character, I didn't know who was, where was it?
Pierre.
Yeah, I didn't know the pirate dude. I didn't know Pierre. I was like, who the fuck is this?
Mr. Zircon, Mrs. Zircon, Zircon Jr. These
Yeah,
are like this was a game that was meant for fans of the franchise. You could pick it up, but you miss out on a lot of like the intrinsic value of these references because you didn't play any of the other games.
yeah. So that was like one of the things I was having issues with. I mean, it wasn't like the biggest issue. Like, you need to know this character. Those characters come and go. There's like the one fighting Pierre part where it's quick and easy, blow through it, advances the story a little bit. It wasn't like I needed to know the backstory of these characters, but it's just like, okay, like when Ratchet or Clank makes a reference, like, hey, ain't you the alternate? Is this supposed to be what's Pierre's name in the original? Was it something else?
Something Pete.
Yes, that's why I was like,
It's been a really long like that's actually one of the sad parts about the franchise is that for whatever reason the futures the entirety of the PlayStation 3 games aren't available. Two or three of them are on PlayStation Now, but you can't get the first one. And that's what started that's when they really started caring about canon and kept stories consistent between each game.
yeah.
I understand that, though. At least you have to at least acknowledge that they put in the efforts that, like, if you were curious about a character, you can go into and once you started collecting like the golden bolts, you got a character gallery with descriptions of who these people were.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably what drove me to keep playing the game, was finding all these collectibles and stuff, like the golden bolts, the spy bots, and stuff like that. And then I'm looking at the trophies, like, oh shit, I could get the platinum in one go. I was like, I could do this. And not to say that drove me to keep playing. I did enjoy the story. It was just not a story I was like totally set in to that universe, because like I said, I didn't grew up with these characters. I don't know who these characters are. Besides like the whole Rivet storyline, that whole storyline, that's the one I can follow, because this was a totally new character. I can follow that new character and see her develop and grow. So for the most part, her story was the most interesting to me. Ratchet and Clanks, I'm like, whatever. I'll let John handle that part. I'm gonna play with Rivet, and then. But
this is like with the introduction of Rivet, it really helped. It really helped give you a beeline or an entry point into the series. It's kind of like when Marvel or DC come out with new versions of like Batman, but it'll be like Batman 1. It's technically like Batman 800, but it would be like Batman like All-Star 1. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's number 1. I can pick up from here. So that's good. I thoroughly love the story. I really enjoyed it. Um, I'm actually left with a bunch of questions, and I'm really hoping that with the success of this game and the notoriety that it's getting, that it will go back to this. We'll get more sequels. Hopefully, a trilogy in the life cycle of the PlayStation 5. I'll be really upset if we had to wait another 7 years for another one.
I don't think we're getting another one just yet. Not for a while.
Oh, I mean, no. I'm not expecting one next year. Don't get me wrong, but there's still a lot of questions about they left um, that they left behind that I'm really interested in. But like for instance, one of the big surprises about the game, and we were talking about this prior to us recording, was nobody knew that there would be the introduction of a new robot companion in Kit, who is supposed to be the dimensional equivalent to Clank, a golden robot with kind of like lights for pigtails, with a very somber personality where she isn't quick to befriend anybody because she doesn't trust
You
herself
shouldn't
to
be
not
my
betray them.
friend. Stuff like that. I'm gonna chip
No,
in on that.
but when she
I
took
love
charge,
Kit. I love Kit.
Kit was great. Kit was great. I one of the through lines I really liked, and something that they left vague, is you got this. There was this beeline with Rivet that where she kind of like she was looking at like the trials and tribulations that she had in her life because she lived in this dimension where the primary villain had won and they'd been under his oppressive rule. And she looks at Ratchet and Clank, and there's this question of whether or not they're the same person, just dimensional alternates. I actually don't think that is true. I actually think all the Lombaxes are from the same dimension, and then there aren't any copies of them anywhere else. Um, and I'm hoping in the next game that we'll get confirmation of that Rivet and Ratchet aren't dimensional doppelgangers like Clank and Kid are, or Quantum and Quark. But in fact are just sadly just two Lombaxes that got left behind when the rest of them were on the run. I loved like on what was probably my favorite planet. I want to call it Savali. It was when you got the rocket boots, because I'm sorry, the moment I got those rocket boots,
Oh
like
yeah, game
grinning
changer.
ear to ear, especially the part where you sped up by skating. I fucking loved it, man.
Now it's like Jonathan's gonna love this skating bullshit. Yeah, fucking. Where's my
It
bicycle?
was so cool. It was so cool, man. I love this. It had this huge world with all these different collectibles and nooks and crannies to get to. I loved it. But on that world, the Lombaxes as a plot point have always been very, very mysterious. And getting the Lorbs and finding out a little bit more about them and how it kind of teases this idea that they all had to run to a safe place, like there was something dangerous that were after the Lombaxes, and it was like a message. It was like a message from Liara if they failed to stop the Reapers. Like if you're a Lombax and you're listening to this, I'm sorry that we weren't able to bring you with us. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to you at some point. It's like I want to know what's going on. I want to know what that's about. I'm so anxious. Oh,
Yeah.
I
I'd say I know you can go ham on this game
no,
right now.
I'm not even trying to get like that. One of the things I actually like to move on from the story. One of the things I actually appreciated, and something that it was definitely not common for Ratchet and Clank games, is that it offered up like a broad difficulty rating. Like you can turn it up 2 levels higher in order to really have a challenge, or you can just take it way the hell down so you can just enjoy the story. I like it's these little things. Like when the game started, I actually thought that it felt kind of stiff, but the moment they they opened up the mobility, this is the best combat that we've had in a Ratchet and Clank
Oh,
game. Period.
I hands down. Like I said, this is not my game, like Ratchet and Clank's not my game, but the combat was addictive. Because I don't know how many
Yes.
damn times I've done that arena challenges and stuff in there just to get the gold bolt, the spy bot, the armor, and all that kind of crap. But
We always expect an arena. We always expect an arena from a Ratchet and Clank game, but I remember having some severe difficulty with some of those challenges, like the one where you had to use the Enforcer, which is effectively the shotgun, and
yeah,
only that.
Yes.
Oh,
Speaking of,
I was getting frustrated.
I'm gonna get on the topic of weapons. Okay, too many damn weapons in this game. Some of them, cool. I like it. Cool idea. You know, Insomniac's cool for making weird ass weapons in their games.
Oh yeah. Always a selling point of Ratchet and Clank are these wide array of creative weapons, and I'm just like, I was just so happy with like, and there was always the secret weapon that you can build, the Rhino, which stands for Rip Ya a New One.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's only ever mentioned in the very first Ratchet and Clank, then it's never referred to again. I was pleasantly surprised that the Rhino, because the Rhino is always the same type of weapon. Think a Gatling gun that shoots rockets, but this one wasn't. It was something new, and it fit with the theme of the game. And I was like, okay. I mean, I was expecting the Rhino, and I would have been happy with the Rhino that I imagined. But this one that we got, okay, I'm good with this. It was really good. Not to mention, it had some of the best Easter eggs in the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, especially for you, like.
Yeah.
This one Easter egg. I ain't gonna say what it was because I think some things need to be kept a secret until you see it for yourself.
Look,
but
I'm tell you now.
Roy got this Easter egg at the perfect time.
I was like, I mean, we can spoil it. Everybody knows they're in the game by now. You know, Sly Cooper's in it, Jack Dexter's in it. References to Uncharted are in there. And
yeah, they reference all these like classic PlayStation titles. And I love that they did that. There was a lot of people that were hoping that they were going to use this opportunity to make a crossover game, and yeah, I'm satisfied. I didn't see Sly. They mentioned Sly in the Lorbs, but I didn't see him. But yeah, no. And not to mention, because this is the PlayStation 5, we have haptic feedback now. They were able to add all this really great extra functionality to all these weapons, and some of them were kind of meh. There wasn't much they could. They couldn't. I'm realistic enough to know that with 20 weapons, some of the haptic feedback features are going to be kind of meh. But I remember one of the guns, the Pixelator. I didn't realize that it had a haptic function until way late in the game. You could actually charge it, but you had to be very gentle with the trigger. Like when I discovered it, I was like, "Oh, that's fucking awesome!"
Yeah, but
freaking awesome.
See, that's one of the things because I didn't know my copy had like a pre-order bonus with the pixelator and the armor. So I played the whole game until you played the new mode where you can get the pixelator. I'm like, well, shit. I mean, I didn't use like that wasn't not one of my guns. I was like, oh, I gotta get this gun. Like,
it was really late in the. I think when I started the game over, I got the bouncer, and I was like, oh,
yeah, the bouncer was I think like my 4 favorite weapons was the Enforcer, the Ricochet gun. It's probably like the rocket launcher gun they had in there, and
yeah,
and the I don't want to say it was Headhunter. I think that was
it's Headhunter. The sniper.
It was good, but I didn't really care for it.
I like
trying to think of
it. It was like a Gatling gun, but it shot black holes or something.
Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember the name of the gun. It was like the minigun kind of deal.
Yeah. But it like shot black holes.
But other than that, too many guns, and half of them I didn't use, especially because I was playing on hard. So when I ran out of ammo, I was out of ammo. Like that shit was. They would throw you a bone and drop you ammo crates.
They had as the guy who's the veteran for the franchise, there was actually a bunch that were main staples that I was pleasantly surprised weren't in the game, like the Groovatron, or Mr. Zircon was actually like the Mr. Fun guy was basically the replacement for Mr. Zircon because that's essentially the function that he filled. But honestly, dude, the best weapon in the game was the Glove of Doom. That
I don't
thing
even
was
think
broken.
I don't even think I
Oh
used
my
that gun
god.
until the end.
I feel like that weapon was so damn strong because those things took so long to die, and when they died, they exploded viciously. It was a gun that threw out these like little gremlins, robotic gremlins
Oh
that would
yeah,
follow
yeah,
you
yeah,
around and
yeah,
protect
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Um, and they would mess up anything that was on the ground. And at first I was like, oh wow, these guys are really broken. I wonder how they got through with it being this strong. And then by the time you get to the end of the game, almost every enemy is flying and they're basically useless. It's like, aha, that's how they did it. Okay, I'm all right. I'm fine with that. But no, like the mobility that they gave, especially with the rift tears being able to effectively pull the stage to you. This is just technology that we haven't had till this generation, and everyone's hyping it up, rightfully so. It deserves the hype.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's a beautiful game. Beautiful game.
oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. I wish I knew what the fuck to do, what the hell to do with photography because photo modes are wasted on me. It's a gorgeous game. I just can't
Be
capture it worth a damn.
be surprised I didn't dabble into photo mode too much in this game. I did maybe five pictures in the whole game. I was like, okay, let me get one of Ratchet, let me get one of Rivet, and
I also appreciate the customization options that they had there, like with the armor sets. There are a ton of armor sets and a ton of different colors that you can shift them to. Initially, in my initial playthrough, though, I couldn't mess with their outfits.
yeah,
They had to stay the way they were.
uh,
But in my second playthrough, I had Ratchet in the Rebel outfit, and I had which was like red on black, and then I had Rivet in the hacker outfit, which had this like neon pink and black going on. It was pretty cool.
yeah, I didn't mess with the armor at all. I was like, okay,
Well, I also
I mean, they
see
had
that's
the
the thing.
stat. They
I also appreciate that you didn't have to wear the armor in order to get the bonuses. Just collecting them got you those bonuses.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, okay, there's bonus for this stuff, and I was like, you know what? They look kind of tacky. I like the original costume a whole lot better. So it's there if you want it. If you want like a new skin for your character, I mean, it's there, but
I
uh,
like
not something you necessarily need to put it on. It will give you that buff.
and you know what? In my initial playthrough, I really didn't come up with any bugs. I think there
I
was
had
one
okay.
time I think there was one time in my initial playthrough that I got stuck and I had to reset from a checkpoint. My second playthrough was a lot more buggy, but at the very least, I didn't have the same kind of experience that I've seen some people have. I saw Watch Mojo did a review and they were really salty about some random shit. But
I
to
mean,
each their own.
I think the only issue I had like is when you were on Savani and you had that one challenge where you had it was like you had to roller skate on the lifting rocks and you had to it was like a course you had to go.
Yeah. Because what it was is that you had to race to the end and you had a timer, and when you hit the switch, the rocks wouldn't appear immediately.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
quick
what
go, and you run out and you just fall down.
yeah, I died like so
That
many
was a
times.
simple. I did that. I did it the one time, and it was just a simple fix. I just waited until the bridge was built, and then I went. It was
Yeah.
like
Wish I would have known that. I was sitting there like, yo, what the fuck do I do? It's like, and then all of a sudden I was like, stop.
hammer time.
I was like, okay, I gotta wait for these things to load in. But overall, I really enjoyed the game. Hopefully we get a spinoff of maybe Rivet and Kit. I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, no, but the way the plot left off, Ratchet, Rivet, Clank, and Kid are all going to the dimension where the Lombaxes are, or they are now trying to make the trip to find the Lombaxes together.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I mean, this is the best entry in this game for you, because to be completely honest, while the game is called Ratchet and Clank, while the focus was or the crux of the story was them, the meat of the plot was about Rivet and Kit and their dimension, and they're nefarious. I need to make a mention of that. I actually really loved
ooh,
Emperor
yeah,
Nefarious. Like
Emperor was not
as
playing no games.
as a con as a contrast, I love this notion because like they couldn't have been so starkly different. Dr. Nefarious was hunched. he didn't have like he was basically totally mechanical. He didn't have a the symbolism of power to him. Whereas Emperor Nefarious literally had powers. He could telekinetically just like force push people to the ground and subjugate them that way. He stood upright and he was regal. He had that like white armor. He was like Dr. Nefarious but evolved, and I ate it up. I ate up the whole way.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like he was like the Joker. He delighted in being malicious and tearing people down and shit.
Yeah.
Where Doctor Nefarious was just honestly Robotnik.
I'm going to another dimension.
Please don't hurt me. I can help.
I like the way
Doctor Nefarious was the pretender on the throne.
Yeah,
he really was.
I love the way he went out at the end of the game too. He's like, yeah, and then fucking machine just crushes him. I'm like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's another thing. They have some comedy beats in here where they try to be funny. Some of them hit, some of them don't. But see, that's the thing. I'm not used to. I'm used to Jack and Daxter. Fucking Daxter over these fucking got the commentary going on while you play. I'm used to that. I'm like, I gotta rely on the characters.
It's more lighthearted.
Yeah,
it's more it's more well-meaning, not as like sarcastic, I guess.
No.
Like it's more Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I would say.
But nonetheless, given the opportunity now, do you think you would go back and play the PlayStation 3 titles? The ones that where they really started canonizing the story?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, like I said,
But you would be interested in a sequel for the PS5 though.
I'll be more if it's continuing this story, and definitely if it continues the Rivet and Kit story, I'll be more interested in that than going back trying to piece all Ratchet and Clank's history than doing that.
Oh no, I wouldn't tell you to do that. Like honestly, IGN did a really great wrap-up video of the story up until that point. Take 10 minutes out your life, you can watch that. You hit the major plot beats. That's all well and fine. Still, if I were to have to give this game a grade, honestly, I'd give it a 10. I think it deserves it too. Like, is it like even a game that I would call a 10? Nothing is ever perfect. You can find issues. Like I said, it wasn't something that was prevalent in my playthrough, but I know that a lot of people encounter bugs during the game. Like in my second playthrough, Mrs. Zircon kept treating me like there was a battle going on. She kept turning her back on me. It's like, oh no. But is it a perfect game? Of course not. But isn't a nearly perfect game? Yeah, I'd say it is.
I give it a 9, only because I wish the Ratchet. This is where I take apart Ratchet and Clank's part in the story, where those were already established characters. They already had their little friendship between all those other games. And then you got the Rivet and Kit part where that was it had more development than Ratchet and Clank's because that was already established.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to develop
like I felt like even the levels where you play as Ratchet, until he met until he met Kit, I didn't really care for playing as Ratchet.
Well, I mean, Ratchet felt insecure about finding the Lombaxes. And then his motivation was very much just trying to save Clank. Clank's motivation was that he felt that he was at fault for everything, because he was the one who built the Dimensionator.
Hold on, I forgot there was only one part of the Ratchet's playthrough that I loved. Glitch. I love playing as Glitch.
Every Ratchet and Clank game always has a bunch of different like mini games or things to shake up whether it's like hoverboard racing or now Glitch. And the Glitch sequences were fun. Like when you got ambushed, I was like, oh my god.
I
uh,
was struggling on that part. I was like, yo, how the fuck do I get past this part? And I realized
I
I didn't know I had an extra ability, which was hit X, and it would do that explosion shit. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Uh, no, I totally understand what you're talking about. You like with Ratchet's story, you're kind of coming into it late, so you feel that bit of disconnect. But I still thought that Ratchet and Kit had a lot of chemistry. I loved how they played off each other. And what's cool for an old hat like me is Kit. If Kit is the dimensional doppelganger of Clank, they also have other connective tissue because in the older PlayStation 2 games, Clank would using outside technology, it wasn't something he could do by himself, but Clank would turn into a Iron Giant-esque Hulk and take down a whole bunch of enemies with Ratchet on his back. So seeing Kit do it, I loved how they like kind of recanonized that idea of
yeah,
transformation.
yeah. Even like I have like see that was another thing about the story. It's like it's even between Ratchet and Clank and Rivet and Kit, the ending predictable, predictable ending. You know,
Yeah.
Kit and Rivet had that little falling out. Like when she like spoiler warning by the way, Rivet's
Oh,
arm,
we already
Rivet's arm was taken off by Kit.
yeah.
And so like Rivet's
Oh yeah,
trying to get
the moment Rivet elaborated on why she had a mechanical arm, I knew that it was Kit.
yeah.
Uh, but knowing that it was coming didn't mean that it wasn't delivered well.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought
it was
it was
delivered
like
fine. It was just so
I thought
predictable.
like the reactions were genuine. I thought the reactions were genuine with their character. Kit wanted Kit wanted Kit wanting to confess and then resigning herself to Rivet's rejection, and Rivet being jaded about it because Rivet has been alone. Ratchet has had Clank. I mean, granted, he has other acquaintances and friends, but it's that bond that's really carried them through so many different hardships. Rivet's been alone in her hardships, so finding out that this person that she was starting to think was supposed to be her destined friend, just like how Ratchet has Clank, is actually the source of some of her trauma. It was while it was definitely predictable, it was totally in line with her character, and it was still delivered in a stellar fashion, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, it's just I saw everything come. I was like, oh, I predict. Like at the end, where Kit shows up to save the day, kind of deal. Yeah,
Of
predictable.
course, of course.
Which, by the way, when I got all those spy bots and got the Rhino gun up at the end against Emperor Nefarious, fucking the Thunderjaw from Horizon dropped on his ass and took a good chunk of his health, which I love. I was like, oh shit, who's showing up for the party? You know?
I wasn't gonna mention it, but the Rhino in this game opens rifts and drops things from other
And
dimensions.
we already
So
mentioned
it would drop thing.
it.
It would. Well, oh, I mean,
We already
again,
talked about it.
then I was trying to keep it a secret, and you fucking spoiled it. But
Hey,
nonetheless,
who cares? Everybody knows they're in the
nonetheless,
game.
nonetheless, uh, where the original Rhino was a Gatling gun that fired rockets, this new Rhino opens rifts. It's rift apart. It makes sense. And it would drop things from other places, like other planets in the game, like these big T-Rex bosses that you would fight on Sargasso. Um, but occasionally it would drop random shit from other games, like the Thunderjaw from Horizon Zero Dawn, or one of the ships from Jak and Dexter, and Jak and Dexter would pop out. Like I think Dexter would wave and then they disappear. I didn't see Sly. I know that his world is mentioned in the Lords, but I didn't see
Yeah,
him
so Jack and
from
Daxter's stories mentioned too.
yeah. I did see some bosses. There were some bosses would drop from the Rhino that appeared in other older Ratchet and Clank games, like the one for the PS4. So yeah, no, that was really cool. Like when I saw that, like I had the exact same reaction as you.
But
It was awesome.
overall, yeah, I really love this game. Is it now? Here's the question: how long did it take for you to beat this game?
I don't know.
Are you in chat? Because when I was doing the podcast with,
I don't remember because it feels like it flew by.
Yeah, because when I did the podcast with the Nerd Gods, they said it was about a 15-hour game. So I was like, okay, you know. So when I finally finished the game, go to my profile to see how long I played it. Exactly 15 hours. I was like, damn, they hit it on the head. Even with me 100% in the game, I was like, well, shit.
Yeah,
I mean, is this game?
not a bad thing.
Is it worth $70?
I am the guy who recognizes, because you have a lot of people, you have a lot of gamers nowadays that are really bulking at the increase in price, because we always do. Let's be honest. This isn't an obtuse notion. Games get more expensive to make. And it's a greater risk for the companies. So when they want to make a game and they want all the bells and whistles that we want them to have, it's going to be more expensive. And that's getting into economics and the notion that everyone needs to be making more money, because if we were all making the kind of money we should be making, had pay been tied to inflation, then we wouldn't notice as much that the game is $10 more expensive. So I do think that it was worth $70. I think that it was an absolutely wonderful game. All right. So, have you played Ratchet and Clank? What did you think about it? I know that's like a loaded question, because so many people still don't have a PlayStation 5, and that's the only way you can play it. But like, hopefully, if you want to play it, you'll get the chance to play it pretty soon. And when you do, you watch this video, drop a comment down below as to what you thought about the game. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you haven't already, so you know the next time we're posting videos. And we will see you next time. Peace.
Deuces.